Hello, I'm Philip Brunelle, Artistic Director and founder of Vocal Lessons and Organist Choirmaster at Plymouth Congregational Church in Minneapolis. Each day, I've selected a composer who's had a role to play with these two organizations. Today, it's the English composer Andrew Lloyd Webber. You know, there are certain names, and his is one that reminds me of Ralph Vaughan Williams. Vaughan Williams has two last names. Some people file him under Williams, but he's really Vaughan Williams. And Andrew Lloyd Webber is really Lloyd Webber, just like his father, who was not only his father William, a musician and taught for many years at the Royal College of Music in London. So the same with Andrew Lloyd Webber, born in 1948, very active, as I'm sure you know. He has a brother, a fabulous cellist, Julian Lloyd Webber, who I invited, who came and was part of Vocal Lessons one year here in Minneapolis. Andrew Lloyd Webber studied at Magdalen College, Oxford, and at the Royal College of Music. He has composed 21 musicals, film scores, a song cycle, and then a couple of pieces that I'm fascinated by. One, a piece that I first heard years ago. He wrote it in 1978. His brother, Julian, they had a bet. I don't know what the bet was about, but the fact was that Julian won, and because of that, Andrew was required, as part of the bet, to write a piece for Julian for solo cello. And he asked for a piece that would be for cello and rock band. And that's what Andrew did. So what he did is he took that 24th Paganini Caprice. I know that you've heard it with other composers. It was one that was done with Brahms, Liszt, Rachmaninoff. They've all set it, and he did it with a set of these 24 variations. I'm not going to play all of it, but just imagine this piece. This is what would have happened, and which, after they had the premiere, which was a sensation, it was then set as a piece for dancers. So it became part of a work that he had on Broadway called Song and Dance. This is the dance part of that evening. So it begins with this mysterious introduction with the rock band, later made into an orchestral version. And then it gets louder and louder. And then the cello comes in. and on from there. It's a wonderful piece. Make sure to listen to a recording and hear it, especially if you can find a recording with Julian on cello. You know, one of the unique things about composers is that some of them are very well known, others less so. And what causes a composer like Andrew Lloyd Webber to have achieved such notoriety in terms of writing melodies that people remember for years after? And I think about that with him. I believe that part of it has to do with the fact that he began, as I mentioned, his father was a musician, and there's a whole history and background of knowing melody through his study and through English cathedral music. There's no question that that has an influence. It can move from cathedral to Broadway, yes, of course, but it starts with just a sense of how do you create melodies that are memorable, and how do you write that? Who can say? But he did it, and he's had that link between his past and his present that has made music that he has composed something that all of us know and have kept as part of us. In 1985, his father had passed away several years before, and he wanted to commemorate that. So he wrote a requiem in honor and memory of his father. And this piece, which has become famous partly for one particular movement that we'll come to, is a work that isn't done as much as I think it should be, partly because it does require a large orchestra. And we performed it at Vocal Lessons at Orchestra Hall, and it's a piece that needs a soprano and tenor solo, and then also a boy soprano with the choir and the orchestra. So the beginning of it, the opening movement where they sing Requiem Aeternam, rest in peace, O Lord, you have the orchestra giving you that drone, and then the flute, and then the boy soprano. And then the sopranos. And that continues on. It goes into Hear my prayer, let thy cry come unto thee. And then finally, it switches key. We have that same thing, but now the two solo soprano and tenor join us. And then the boy, well, it is later in the piece that the familiar, famous movement comes, and that, of course, is the Pie Jesu. Jesus, have mercy on us, thou who takest away the sins of the world. And it begins with the soprano, the solo soprano, and then has the boy, and then the two of them, of course, singing together in thirds. Beautiful, wonderful piece. And the soprano. And then the boy, soprano. And then in thirds. Then the choir comes in and sings the Agnus Dei. And then at the very end, this is where you want to know that your solo soprano has total confidence in making it work. Because at the very end, she is going to sing very quietly a high A flat and hold that before the boy joins to come to the ending with the final requiem. So you have them. And she sings. Have a wonderful day.